Hey, everybody. Welcome to another special edition of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And joining us again is our good friend, Andrew.
Hi, guys. How are you doing?
Hello again.
Hello again.
Too
For
shabby.
so long since we've talked.
Yeah. For the second time.
Yep. Spoiler.
Yeah. Speaking of spoilers,
Yeah.
It's the special edition is going to be the second half of Pandemic Legacy. Only 7 months later, 9 months later.
it depends on if you downloaded the first episode yesterday and then downloaded the second episode today. And then it's only been like a day to you.
Yeah, there's like 3 people that have recently started listening to us, so this is timely.
Yes.
Timeliness, that is our main virtue for
It's also
our listeners.
It's also just in time for you guys to do the hype episode on season 2. So
It's true.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's coming right around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Season 2. Hooray.
Hooray!
But speaking of spoilers, we're going to talk about everything Pandemic Legacy from month 1 to month 12. Also, spoiler, there's 12 months in a year, and in this game. If you want to know nothing about Pandemic Legacy, stop listening.
Yeah,
immediately.
turn this off right now. This is
You should have not listened to it in the beginning, so
Yeah.
bad on you.
You've taken a big risk listening, as long as you have.
Yep.
If you don't want Pandemic
There's
Legacy
diseases.
spoilers, get the fuck out. Now that all of those people are gone, I'm assuming that everyone here is down for spoilers, and so we will recap here a little bit. We did our first one and covered the first 6 months, which we went through like Coda being established, which was an incurable disease that then became intreatable, and then eventually turned into essentially zombies. Faded.
I remember you actually asked him.
Yeah, so I didn't ask him specifically. I
What?
just posted on Twitter, thinking about this episode. I was actually thinking about something else for a different discussion.
It was for themes.
Because I wanted to mention this as one of my favorite zombie games. I tweeted out, asked about the statute of limitations on spoilers for this game, mainly the specifics behind what effect Coda has on people. And Rob Davio replied, Coda has the symptoms of a virulent form of rabies. Well, mingled with jellyfish DNA, which I didn't end up using in the episode, but I thought was a pretty solid answer.
Yep.
But basically, they're glow-in-the-dark zombies. They call them the Faded. They get super aggressive.
Basically, their
people.
skin becomes transparent, and that's probably pretty gross. And they're like muscle zombie people.
Yep.
There is a description in the game of they become very violent for a very short period of time, and then they're fine.
Which
Then
is
they're
why,
kind of docile, yeah.
it's why you can't start your turn in a city with them
Yeah.
because you take a scar. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so we went through that whole reveal, and then we essentially started working with the military, placing a bunch of research stations and military bases, and trying to basically contain this incurable, intreatable disease as it spread across the world. Now, ours broke out originally in Riyadh. Was our
Karachi?
city Karachi? The Karachi was yours. Yeah,
Karachi
you're
was
confused.
yours.
Karachi was ours.
It was Karachi.
Yeah.
Yes. I wrote that down.
Yeah.
Oh.
And ours was Bangkok.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should note that I was in Jeff's game. So
Yes,
it's
Andrew was in
two
my
and
game.
two.
2 and
Yes.
2.
And Zach and I were in a game.
Wes was in on the part A,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
also part.
And Ant, friend of the show, was
Yes.
the 4th member of that game.
Indeed.
Right. And for us, it was David and Bob were the other two in our group, which I think that might have been one of the last times I actually got a chance to play a game with Bob. I haven't played hardly anything with Bob since we finished Pandemic. It's been a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so that took us all the way up through June, where in June, like I said, we were just building research bases and military bases, and
And then we got equipment.
yeah, and we started getting equipment cards and started being able to actually remove Faded. We were basically killing them.
Yep.
Sure.
And then in July,
Pacifying.
Pacification.
at the start of July is when the story starts to kind of turn again. You get notification that there's a virologist who had pertinent information about Coda, and that virologist has gone missing. And so that's the first mission that you get where you're trying to track down a character.
We got a search action as a brand new action in the game.
Yep. And there's a little track that comes out that has one that starts where the virologist is, and the other one that's where you start, and you have to search and then every time there's like an outbreak or something is when it
Yeah,
moves.
it increases.
I think every time there's an epidemic card.
Epidemic card, that's what it is. Then the virologist gets further away, and if it gets far enough along the track, it leaves the track, and you don't get the virologist.
I gotta say, as a legacy game, it obviously part of the thing is that the rules change. If not every month, then most months. There's a rule change, and this seems like it's the biggest deviation from the core of Pandemic. Like the stuff that's coming later seems much more similar to what you're doing as actions in Pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, having to search and find something wasn't, because you have to go to like one space and discard certain cards, and it's
it's
very
still
different.
discarding cards to do actions is the core of Pandemic. So it's not too terribly far, but this is the big new thing. I think.
Aside from the early reveal about the incurable disease, all of a
Right.
sudden,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was
It's an incurable disease that hurts you.
Yeah.
That's the only real difference.
yeah, it still spreads like normal disease and
Right.
everything. So.
Yeah.
Then in August, whether or not you found the virologist, now you're also looking for an immunologist who has inside information on a cure.
And we should mention at this point, we have started to get like a list of things.
We had a list of, it was 3 things you had to find.
Yeah, we had a list of we need the virologist, the immunologist, some documents, and
Like DNA samples or
like
something
DNA samples, and like a patient 0 that
Yeah.
you got that from.
So so there was a little bit of that, but you still weren't quite sure. You're starting to piece it together, like, oh, well, in our case, we found the virologist the first month we had.
Yes. Yeah.
And we
we should-
found the immunologist the first month we had.
And we should mention that those unlock 2 whole new roles.
yes.
Yep.
Like 2 totally new
You play them
characters.
Play as
Yep.
the virologist and the immunologist. Yeah.
Yeah. Then moving on into September, you get word about a paranoid military guy who's spreading rumors about conspiracies and whatnot, and they want you to track him down.
Which, given that the world is collapsing, I'm surprised there aren't more rumors about
Yeah.
conspiracies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of these have different objectives that you have to, you can't just search for him anywhere. You have to search for him in a fated city with a military base.
Or there's one where you had to go to what's it called? The point of contact.
Patient zero.
Ground
Zero, that's
But
what
we're
it
not there yet.
Yeah, not there.
was
yet.
that not one? That was?
That's not yet.
No. We had to go to a fated city that was rioting, and then
Oh, that's what it was. And then
yeah.
one with a research station, one with a military
yeah.
station.
So sometimes you might have to build these things
Yes.
in places you did not have them.
Yes.
Build a military base just so they will send that soldier there.
And so finding this soldier, when you finally catch up with him, it reveals that he is not full of shit. There is a vast conspiracy working against you. And that's when you first get your hints that maybe you haven't been the good guys. Like, you're good guys, but you're being directed by bad guys.
You're not working with the good guys.
Yeah. And so that's October that you first get him.
Yeah.
And then
And you get a nice handwritten card that has his note in it about his name, Michael Davidson.
yeah, and he feels really bad. He was just a soldier following orders, which, we know
Heard that before.
Yeah, that doesn't fly.
Uh-huh.
That may explain why they have all of 4 people trying to solve 4 different diseases around the world. Like, maybe they don't actually want it cured.
Yeah.
If they want it cured, they would have maybe had more than 4 people.
Yeah, and I remember when this was going on, one of the objectives that we had to do was, bring out a lot of military bases in all the different regions. And I know that we were hardcore on this will make it so easy, and we kept adding
permanent?
permanent stations. So we start off and we only have to build one new one. We're getting all this stuff out here, and then as soon as we saw it, we're like, oh fuck, we played right into their hands.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so November's mission briefing is the shortest mission briefing of all the months. November's mission briefing reads, "We know you are on to us. You are too late. You will disappear soon."
Dun, dun, dun.
And that's the one where all of a sudden you got to go burn down all those fucking military bases that you spent the last several months deploying. Shit.
Again, civilians burning down military bases doesn't seem like it would be all that successful, but you don't seem to have that much of a problem doing it.
No, not too bad.
We should mention at one of these briefings that we have found out about Zodiac, there was a traitor mechanic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was in the same one as the
note.
Yeah, I think that was in the same one as the note.
Yeah.
But you find out that there's been a traitor in your midst. For us, it was Crumbopulous Michael. What role was that actually?
That was your colonel.
He was the
It
colonel.
was the colonel, yes. which was fitting. The military higher up was the bad guy, and so he just disappears. You don't have access to him anymore.
Which that one, it was that was him for us because we as soon as we got where we saw the paramilitary escort, what are these called? Upgrades. Whenever you leave a city with a faded figure, remove one figure from that city. As soon as we saw that one, we're like, oh shit, we'll get him and the colonel, and it'll be great. We'll finally be able to hold these guys back.
And then pretty much like one of the next missions was the one where it was like, nope, he's gone now.
Yep.
Like, God damn it.
And it's because he had that ability.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Unfortunately, ours was our quarantine specialist, not because they had the paramilitary escort, but because their birthday was up next.
Yeah, I don't think we'd given out the paramilitary.
Yeah, so if nobody
not.
has paramilitary expert, it goes to the person with a military tag whose birthday is closest to the date it happens on.
Yeah.
And we were playing her.
We were playing, let's see, October 9th. And her birthday was December 19th.
Oh, yeah.
And Quarantine Specialist was one of our most used roles that
I think we'd used her in every single game that we had
up
the
until that
ability to.
point.
Yeah.
So she'd been right by your side, secretly betraying you.
Yep. That she even had a relationship with our scientist.
Yeah, she
they could
was
trade off cards super
Coworkers
easily.
with Kit. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Mae Jameson. Never trust the astronauts.
And then in December, you get another mission briefing that's like a message from Zodiac, and it says that you and your vaccine are too late, and even if you cure it, they've got other strains ready to release to keep it going. And so one of your December mission briefings is to find the secret supply cache and blow it up.
the stockpile in Atlanta specifically.
Yes.
So you have to go to Atlanta and do this bullshit search where you're discarding
that was
so many cards.
Yeah.
You are just pumping cards in
luckily,
there.
I think for December, you don't really care about treating the diseases, right?
No, because by that point you had found patient 0 the month previous, and that gives you access to the vaccine, and then you can start building vaccine production centers and then starting to vaccinate cities.
Yeah. And it mentions at one point that there's a surprisingly low mortality rate with the Coda virus, and so most people are still alive. So there's just huge hordes of faded in the cities.
Right.
But that allows that, you start being able to vaccinate and kind of shut that spread down.
And once you vaccinate it, then it doesn't spread to there anymore. If you draw your card for the infection, it skips that city. So
Which, the morals of you having just murdered all of these people and maybe even nuked a city that now you can treat.
Oops.
No.
You may have,
That was Zodiac's purpose.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They wanted to ensue maximum chaos. They wanted more nukes.
And then they wanted to install a one world government was the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does not seem like the best plan.
No.
Yeah.
We're not the bad guys. We were just following orders.
Yep.
Until we weren't. And then
Until
that's
we
what
weren't.
makes us good guys is we stopped them.
Right.
We're the heroes now.
Yes.
Yeah, in the third act, we're like, meh, we should probably stop doing this.
Yeah. Did we want to talk about vaccination centers a little bit?
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
So you can install them like research centers.
Or military bases.
Or military bases. You need the city card and build it there. And then it would produce a certain amount of vaccine,
Pills.
fish oil pills
Yeah.
that you would be able to go to that spot and pick up. The immunologist, I think, had special powers with that,
Right.
that they could help vaccinate more cities, kind of similar to the medic.
Well, I think it was like you could spend an action to pick up like one or two.
Right.
But the immunologist could just grab all of the supply that was there.
That makes sense.
And I think they had an ability to distance, vaccinate a city
Like
that was
quarantine
one space away.
specialist.
Well, so there, no. It was,
All right.
Please read it, Zach.
Yes, Zach.
Please inform me of my.
Correct our mistakes.
it's remove all faded figures from your city, spending 1 dose per figure when you do the vaccinate action. So it's like the medic ability, but for vaccinating.
Gotcha.
And then once per turn, you may take the vaccinate action to affect an adjacent city.
Aha.
Okay.
So,
it's kind of a combination of medic and quarantine specialist.
yeah.
Yep. Very useful. I think when we got that, we ended up using that at the end of the game.
Yeah,
we
pretty
did
much
too.
every turn.
Yep. November, December. Yep.
Yeah.
And that was our a real piece of shit, Jerry.
Who saved the day.
Yep.
As Jerry is wont to do.
Accidentally.
Dr.
He was confused.
Desley McLaren.
As far as he was confused and all the
Wesley.
the orange
Wesley?
things.
Wesley McLaren. I don't know what.
He saw them as red and he's like hungry for apples.
Yeah. November, December for us.
Yeah. And so then you finish out December, and the last thing that you read is, at long last, it's over. And then it basically walks you through a couple more steps, and you get a scorecard, and you get to go through and score your game.
Yep. But during those last 2 months, you had completely new objectives.
Yeah, at the start of December, all of your old sources, you can't trust anymore, and so you trash every previous objective, and you get some new handwritten looking ones that you have to go with.
You have for yourself. Have 3 vaccine factories on the board, sabotage military bases because now we're trying to tear down the government. Vaccinate 6 fated cities. Find and destroy a secret stockpile in Atlanta, and vaccinate every fated city. And those are the 2 mandatory ones.
Yes, and notice that that treating the 3 other diseases is not one of those.
You still have to control those.
You have to control them, but there's more important things.
Yeah, you don't have to treat anymore.
Yeah,
still let people have measles. That's fine.
But by that point, we probably had enough upgrades on those old ones that it was becoming much, much easier.
Yeah.
I think what's the final upgrade on the highest upgrade on one of them that you only get one of? You need 1 less card to even cure it?
No, everybody is medic, basically.
When you treat,
okay.
remove all cubes of this
Gotcha.
color.
Everyone gets medic. That was our
against that particular disease.
Yeah. That was our blue disease. Everyone was medic against blue.
We did not get that one.
Yeah. We went hard for those.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the only one we didn't get.
Yeah.
Yeah, Europe was looking pretty bad.
It just happened for most of those times. We're like, we could get that, or we could build these roadblocks so we can stop Coda from spreading.
We completely walled in Istanbul.
Yep.
Which I love the idea that we walled in a city that has a giant fucking strait running through the middle of it. And we walled it in, and nothing's getting out of there.
So for Istanbul, that was our first fated city. Or it's Fallen City.
Yes.
Yeah. Fallen. That's the 5 where it's just, the
Everything's
city.
gone to hell.
Everything's gone to hell. And I believe for that one, for ours, it went from 1 to 5 in one game.
Yeah,
a lot of
crashed
ours
hard.
Yeah.
When it
crashes
hard.
Yeah, when they crash, they crash hard. I think, though, for Istanbul, the actual city, I think they do actually have a chain across the strait that they can raise and block the strait with an actual giant metal chain.
Well, yeah, so that blocks like ships and things going through the strait. That doesn't help keep we
just build a wall off the chain.
Yeah.
Just stop the water flowing.
You remember that wall in that new King Kong movie with all the spikes on it?
Yep.
It's like that.
It's like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny, I didn't remember seeing that when I was in Istanbul.
And so
We built one.
at the end of that game, we were like, well, we could, we wanted to build walls, and it's like, well, we could do the strategic thing of building things over here, or we could do what we want in our gut in the game of, oh god, that city has fallen, just wall it off. We don't care about it anymore.
Did you get in? You had to have gotten past the roadblock to vaccinate it, right? Eventually?
Yes.
Well, no, I think that's where we used the one person's ability to vaccinate adjacently. Like they went to the wall and
they just threw it over
the wall.
They just put it upstream in the water, like drops, and just hoped they drank the water.
And they did.
Yummy straight water.
Yes.
Yeah, the game ends up being kind of full of silly little moments like that. It doesn't quite make sense, but whatever. It's still fun.
So I remember
it's an abstraction of the real world. It's not.
Yes.
Actually,
The month before we found out that the military was working against us, we got access to a nuclear strike.
Yeah.
Now, you guys did not use it, right?
We did not.
Did you?
No, we did not. We thought about it.
I wanted to
Istanbul.
real bad.
And then, but our companion Bob was like, if you guys use this, I'm out of the game.
He was hardcore pacifist.
Yeah.
And he is in real life. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but then it's once we considered to use it, once we found out the military was bad,
Like
there was
the next turn.
yeah, we were just like, and he was just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then we were like, "All right, Bob, that's fine. I guess you're making sense."
Because on that specific upgrade, you can put it on a player card, but then you have to tear up the player card you put it on and the infection deck card of whatever city you blew up.
Right. Yeah, because that city doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, but you could put it on a player card that wasn't the city that you wanted to use it on. So you could technically lose
Two cities.
Yeah, 2 city cards.
Yeah. We'll just use one of the black ones.
Yeah.
That's for us.
Yeah, we got to use any of the. That's why we put all the equipment cards on the red cards.
Yes.
Which,
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard Rob talk about like the designing of this, and that was one thing when they realized like these cards aren't very useful anymore. We should
Right.
find a way to make them still be useful. And so that's kind of where equipment cards came into play.
Especially
That's actually
because
pretty
I
smart.
believe every single one of our Coda cities, except for one, was 2 or 3 or higher.
Yeah.
So they're all rioting. So it's like we couldn't fly there. We had to fly on the outskirts.
That's funny. We had a couple of our Coda cities were no outbreaks at all.
0.
Yeah.
Well-
and then a couple more at one. So.
Yeah,
The,
like Bangkok, we had a research station and a military base almost all the way. I think all the way to the end of the game. They
That was
never
our-
were destroyed, and that,
That
was
was
like
our transfer point.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, the military bases, they're fine even if it's at a 5.
Right.
The research ones are the ones that, get trashed.
Yeah.
Get burnt down.
yeah, we didn't have a single problem with
Right.
research station there. It was nice being able to get right into the middle of Coda without being with medical characters, basically.
But we took real good care of that city because
Yeah.
it was really it
extra
was right
special
in the
attention.
center
Yeah.
of Coda, and it was still healthy. So, yeah.
From what I remember, I think I was reading something saying that for out of all the colors, I think it was red and black were the hardest ones. I
I
think
wonder
it
if
was.
that has
Yeah,
to do
I'd
with the links.
So I know black, like all of them are touching a whole bunch of different ones. So
and there are a
yeah,
bunch of
black's
like
whereas
fiery
I've heard yellow is the easiest. I
Yeah.
think.
Which, I mean, that's true for basic pandemic. Like, yellow is, if you get decent cards, like, yellow is one of the easiest to not
Yeah.
just cure, but eradicate.
Yeah.
And blue's not too bad either because you start in blue.
Right.
So you don't have to travel anywhere
Yeah.
to get to it. Whereas, like,
But that also means that it's most likely that red and black are going to be the Coda colors because the way it was decided was whichever one you're doing worst on in the first game. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd
So
like to see some other boards
Yeah.
that had
Yeah.
yellow or
David's
blue.
was yellow, right? His other game.
I believe so.
Yeah, and I think Tom Vassal, his was yellow as well.
Okay.
So, did yours spread beyond your color borders?
One city.
Yeah.
It spread. Karachi.
I think that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was one of that and Tokyo were the only two cities that we completely walled off this way you walled off Istanbul, though it was not quite as dramatic as your board.
Yeah, because I know you guys at least like put it halfway between each. We walled it as close as we could, so it built a physical wall around
Like
the
city
city.
walls. Yeah.
it's pretty great.
Fuck
Yeah.
that place in particular.
Yeah,
We had also roadblocked off the board edge from red to blue.
Right.
From Sydney to LA and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
We
no
did that.
Pacific shifting.
No,
Yeah.
we blocked that off real early
Yeah.
as soon as roadblocks became a thing.
we had all but I think 1 or 2 of the blue to black connections roadblocked as well.
And then we ended up road blocking a few of the black to red towards the end.
Yeah, that one usually was like at the beginning of the game we would do it, so we could,
Right. You wouldn't do the permanent. though.
Yeah, we wouldn't do permanent because there were a couple times when we did the permanent and we're like, oh no, we need to get in there, and the guy that can pass through is working against us.
That's why we had Bangkok, where you could just
Yeah.
fly right into the middle of all
Exactly.
of
It
it.
was
And
so nice.
that helped a lot.
Yeah.
Would have been nicer if we still had our quarantine specialist,
Yes.
but you know.
Because quarantine stuff will just fly in there and like quarantine.
Oh,
and then,
yeah, I remember. It was great.
Yeah, and then we couldn't do that anymore at all.
Not so great.
Yeah, that's how we barely survived a lot of our games.
Fuck you, Sagittarius.
So what did you guys think of?
Sagittarius, I don't think we've mentioned is working with Zodiac, right? Is the
Yes.
trader?
Yeah, that was the
code
trader.
name of the trader is Sagittarius.
Yes.
Yeah. So what did you guys think of the searching in general?
We found the broken thing way too late, which was binoculars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well-
we were able to get all the searches done the first game that we had them available.
Okay. Yeah.
Even if we failed the mission, we were able to get the search done.
Okay.
Well, so it's not just binoculars that are broken. It's binoculars and the soldier.
Because he can pick up.
You can spend an action to pick from the discard pile any military equipment, which
Yep.
the
Yeah.
binoculars are. So every time we did it in our game, we would jokingly like act it out, like looking around with the binoculars. Oh, I don't see anything. These are worthless. Throw them down. Oh wait, shit! I need to look some more. They come up again. Like, nope, nothing. Throw them away again. Oh shit! No, I still need those.
There's an awful lot of duct tape on those binoculars by the end
He
of it.
really needed to invest in a strap.
Yeah. Keeps walking his binoculars. That means you drop it in front of you.
But yeah, it was really simple for him because we had a lot of other colors that had equipment on there, and so we tried to spread it out onto the different colors, and then we would like when we were discarding them for the to move and stuff, the soldier would get ready, and then he would just spend a turn, 3 actions picking stuff up, and then search and just throw a whole bunch of cards down. So he'd move 4 or 5 spaces in a turn. It was pretty great.
And I pretty much played the soldier through all of those, and that was really all I did those games.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna search a whole bunch.
Yep.
You guys go do everything else. Oh yeah, sorry, because then I was still acting it out. Like,
Yeah.
pretending to look through binoculars, throw them behind me. Oh shit, I need to pick those up. We got silly with it, as you have to do with some of those abstracted things that don't always make the most sense.
Yeah.
But,
At no point did we ever actually even use the soldier.
Oh, really?
Not one game.
we used the soldier a decent amount.
We did.
Well, yeah, I think as a general rule, our game stuck to our core, and you guys, like core characters.
We
and you
used
guys,
everyone at least once.
Yeah.
We also
At
did-
least twice.
At least twice.
Yeah, we also did not use the generalist at all.
Well, we used it twice the first 2 months, and then we kept convincing Bob, no, use someone useful.
And we also used a civilian once, which you guys never did.
No,
Twice, right?
Because nobody died.
Yeah, we had someone die, and then we had the traitor
was
who was being
active.
played
Yeah.
during that game. And then we had 2 that were used once and one that was used 3 times. The others were used many.
You had one that was used all 18 games, right?
Yes, that was the scientist who used in every single game.
And the medic and the dispatcher were both used in 15 out of our 18 games.
15 and then 15 for both of those. And
Our medic was our highest one. Bird person, if you remember. And he was 14 out of 17. So there are still 3 games we just never used him.
yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, we mix things up a little bit from time to time, like trying different things. Or like one of our characters, like we played it twice and both times we lost, and we're like, nope, fuck that character, we're not touching it again.
Yeah, it was used by you too. It was the virologist.
Yep.
Lost twice, and we're like, nope, Adrian, you can't touch her anymore.
I think so. You guys said you played 18. We
Right.
ended up playing 17. Potentially, you can play 24 if you've lost the first part of every month.
Almost everybody I've heard is between like 15 and 19.
Yeah, I've heard 17, 18 and is about the average.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And we were right there.
yeah.
So you guys said you got close a couple times. There was a box in the game
Box number 8.
If you lose 4 in a row, you open box number 8.
Yeah. There was once that we were within one game of losing.
And that was the first game in May.
We lost.
If we would have lost the second game in May, we would have opened that box.
So you lost both games in April?
Yep.
Yeah.
Was that when the zombies got introduced?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's when Coda went like full on.
Yeah.
Like you all fucked.
I remember for us in April, it turned, but like right at the end for us. So we were able to finish the round without totally getting fucked over.
Yeah. But then we went on a 3-game win streak.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, our May that was our
May-
that was when we lost.
Yeah, May was the first time we lost an entire month.
Yeah.
Before that, we'd been on a 4-game win streak. And so we were like, man, this isn't that hard.
Right.
And then May happened, and oh, God.
May happened was 0 event cards.
Yeah. April was our only all lose month.
Yeah. And I think that's the difference between our scores, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But so I mentioned that pack 8.
Dun-
We never opened ours. So we're going to explore
Zach still never
together.
wants to know what it is.
No, it's fine.
Do you not want to know?
I feel like I actually
wanna
looked
go
at it,
into
but
the
I
other room?
forgot.
Oh. So the top card is the experimental vaccine program. Your colleagues in New Zealand have shown progress reducing the effects of new epidemics with a new formula. Add 3 one-time events to the deck when you set up the game. They do not count against funding. And it's just 3 one-time event experimental vaccines. Increase the panic level of any one city to discard an epidemic card without effect. So, yeah. Because it does say its application is unconventional and it may cause panic when administered.
Yep.
Not may, it does.
But yeah, that's pretty. Like, have a card that can cancel an epidemic. That would be pretty nice.
Yeah, and 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of interesting.
But that's like, you guys are bad at this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are much
Yeah.
less gamey people that got this.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a
And
reason it's number 1 all time
On BGG
I think
right
it's
now.
number 1 across all categories it is rated in.
Gloomhaven
Yes.
is pushing on it.
It's
a few more
6 now.
thousand.
Terraforming Mars got to 10.
Yep.
I think it's at 9.
Oh, it's at 9 now?
It's at 9 now.
Nice.
Maybe people actually get it.
Well, yeah, now that copies are finally starting to trickle
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
world.
And there's our Terraforming Mars break of the episode.
First mention.
Yeah. Of course, because we're us.
Terraforming Mars Legacy.
Oh,
Just-
man.
Oh,
I should
man.
mention that as a guest here, I am also fully on board the Terraforming Mars hype train.
Choo choo.
Yeah.
We wouldn't let anyone on who isn't.
Yeah, that's our gatekeeper question.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you feel about terraforming Mars?
This will be the only question on the test.
That's why David hasn't been on.
It's funny because it's true.
Have you
Let's
ever
have an al-
considered releasing a zombie virus on Mars?
That's how you get Ghosts of Mars.
Yeah.
It'd probably finally kill those fucking pets.
So what we
That's
need to
the
do
Robinson Crusoe.
is we need to come up with
Yes.
some kind of master plan at Gen Con to get Ignacy and Rob Davio and shove them in a room together and don't let them out until they give us a Mars-based legacy game.
What about the Fritz
Not
brothers?
necessarily terraforming Mars
No, I mean,
legacy. I just want legacy on Mars.
I
And
guarantee there can be a Terraforming Mars legacy game made.
Martian pandemic legacy. No, it's just not. It's not coming together.
Well, I haven't seen I haven't seen much from On Mars yet, so I'm assuming there's still time for Ignacy to work with Rob and get a true legacy component to the game. The app will only help.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yep. Apps. God. So
Thank you for coming on.
thank you for your puns.
I do what I can.
So is this time for stats? Have we chit-chatted
Some
about
hot stats.
everything?
Some hot stats.
There's one more gameplay thing I wanted to mention. By the time we got to the end of December, the game was basically over.
Yes.
December,
Yeah, the
like
second.
for how hard the game was up to that point, the December was like it was steeply becoming easier and easier and easier as you vaccinated cities.
And then if you didn't win the first one, the second one was just stupid.
So-
especially because we got the search done, the like destroying of the
Stockpile.
things, the stockpile,
and a lot
thank
of
you.
those, they said like if you did this in the first half and didn't win, it's considered complete for the second half. You don't have to do it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it became like it was
The only
a
thing we had to
10
do
minute,
was
15
vaccinate.
minute game.
Oh, the second game was literally one player's turn and half of another player's
Yeah.
turn. We took 6 actions and then we finished the game.
There you
It was
go.
our second half of our December.
Yeah.
I think that we had a choice of like finishing Atlanta before we lost, and then we just wanted to finish the stockpile.
Yeah.
Like at
Because
all
that's
costs.
such a hard.
Yeah.
Oh man,
task,
it's brutal.
Oh, that would have sucked if you were at the
Had
last
to do it
one.
again.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You only had one blue card.
Yeah, I think we had run into we discovered the binoculars during that.
That made the soldier so much easier too, because he could be like, "Oh, I'm going to pick up this blue events card, or this blue equipment card, and this red equipment card."
Yeah.
So
We did not have that cheater strategy. So
It's in the game. It's not cheating.
it's a legitimate strategy.
it's a legitimate strategy. So the very last month was kind of disappointing because it kind of ended on a like
On a whimper, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was
I can sort of see that because, I mean, what, do you want to have like a boss battle in this or something?
Right.
the stockpile was basically the
Yeah,
boss battle.
exactly,
But
yeah.
we defeated the boss, and that was just sort of like the finishing up the side quests.
Yeah.
It was the cuts. It was the cutscenes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also like it's a little bit of a problem because this isn't actually a campaign. It's the legacy thing where it's got to be the same game over and over and over again. You're not moving on to a different scenario in the same world the same way you would with a normal campaign.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. But.
That's fine. That's fine. Tell us more about the Romans. So yeah, we can go into our stats of our 2 different games. These are final board numbers.
Jeff has a huge page of hot stats.
Hot
He's very
stats.
eager to get to.
The final reckoning.
So we had red and blue box. Our game of the red box went from December 9th, 2015 to October 12th, 2016.
So just over 10 months.
Oh, just over 10 months. And the last 7 games were over, 4 days? 4 games on the 9th and 3 games on the 12th. Your blue box went from November 18th, 2015 to December 2nd, 2016 with a break of a total of 10 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
With 2 5-month breaks in there.
Pretty much, yeah.
What were the rough dates of those breaks, Jeff?
I don't know.
You haven't written. Oh,
I didn't write them down.
I thought you did.
No.
Zach, what were they? You have the sheet over
Yeah,
there.
so on May, that was the last game we played in May.
The month of May, yeah. The game of May.
Yeah, it was in
The game of May.
12/18, 2015. And then June was 4/20, 2016.
So we went from December till April.
Yep. And then 10 days later, we played our first June game, or our first July game. And then our second July game was in September.
So those dates roughly coincide with 2 things. The first break is definitely ski season for me. I'm surprised you guys didn't have a big ski season break with Ant.
It's because Ant loves Pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even more than Jeff. It's close.
Yeah.
So the first break was definitely my ski season, and then the second break, we started a fucking podcast. Like,
Yep.
that.
And you've kept it going.
Well, and
we've kept it going.
we would play on Mondays,
Right.
And it's we
and
record
then
on
now
Mondays.
We record on Mondays, and I edit on Tuesdays, and yeah.
Did we must have played on the same day, 420. Did we
Yeah.
play at both games at game night one
Yes.
time?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because then we had a 4-month break from there, from 420 to
August.
8-9. August
Okay,
9th.
so you had one decent break in yours.
Yeah.
August 19th, if we're being...
Oh, 19th.
Particular
Yep,
here.
that's definitely a 19, not a 9.
Yeah, it's not 2 slashes.
No. Sometimes just double slash the date. That's fine.
People do that.
Yeah. So, Coda. Ours was red. We had 13 cities. Bangkok was ground zero. Black was yours with 14 cities.
Yep.
Karachi was your ground zero.
As we mentioned.
18 games played versus 17 games. We had a record of 11 wins, 7 losses. You had 9 wins, 8 losses. Moving on to cities.
Tell us about cities,
Yes, I love cities.
especially ones with diseases in them.
We had a lot more rioting cities across the world. Your world was probably a lot safer than ours at the end of the game. We had 28 that were at 0 to 1, where you guys had 29 0 to 1. But we had only 9 total with nothing, no panic at all.
Yeah.
And you guys had
30 at 0 to 1, not 29.
I'm sorry, 30. Well, I have 19.
still, yeah,
I have 19 and 10.
Yeah.
30. But we only had 9 that had no sort of rioting whatsoever, where you guys had 19 that had no rioting whatsoever.
Unfortunately, that ended up not mattering for scoring.
Yeah,
the difference
0 and
between
1 is
0
the
and
same.
1 didn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yep.
But like we like to think that basically the Eastern Asia was just like, oh, we're doing great out here. We got StarCraft, all that stuff. We're
Yeah.
good.
America was largely that way. America was largely like, wait, there's something's killing a lot of people in the Middle East,
And it happens to be us?
No. Yeah.
Our military?
Yeah, ours
That's
is
shocking.
Actually, on second thought, ours is very relevant to the modern world.
Yep.
There wasn't zombies at all.
It was poverty.
Oh,
Moment of silence
Anyway.
for introspection. After we all just laughed at something like that.
You guys laughed.
I definitely laughed at
Yeah.
that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm a terrible person.
I'm glad I'm an atheist right now.
we had 15 cities rioting. You had 14 cities rioting.
Yeah.
We had 2 collapsed cities. You had 2 collapsed cities. We fucked the entire island of Japan and had both Osaka and Tokyo fallen, along with Tehran, which we roadblocked off Tokyo from the rest of the world. Right. Not to mention it's an island in the first place.
But it was roadblocked off from Osaka, which didn't save Osaka. But,
No,
you know,
it didn't.
It was a nice try.
Indeed it was. And you had Riyadh and Istanbul fallen, with Istanbul nice and locked down with a 6-way roadblock.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we put it right on top of it.
Yep.
Yep. And wait.
Encircled.
Yeah, we walled Istanbul in, as we discussed
Right.
earlier. Like, we didn't we put the stickers in so close, it makes a literal wall. If it wasn't kind of a spoiler, because it's got a big biohazard sticker. And I kind of want to put it on Facebook. Or,
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram. all
I
that.
think
We have a
it being
vaccine symbol on
biohazard-
it, so they'll be like, I don't even know what's going on here.
Well, once season 2 comes out,
Yeah.
maybe I'll start.
Yeah.
I
snapping
don't even
some
think
pictures.
that's that much. Like, there's stickers. The biohazard.
Yeah,
and
I
the
would say as
vaccine
long as you don't
tell
show the actual figures,
Right.
just showing a picture of that is just like, fuck this city in particular.
Yeah.
And also, fuck this game for giving you so many faded stickers.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
had way more than you would need, and I feel sorry for anyone that needed that many.
Yeah. we're gonna have some listener chime in. Actually, we ran out of faded stickers.
We had to make do
there's
with
gotta-
other.
Basically, every game we started and immediately lost because we had too many stickers.
I'm sure that
Because
they.
there's not enough. Because once, when you had the faded, even if our faded was black, once it got onto a red city, that became a faded city.
Yeah. And anytime you drew a card from the faded color, then that city just got one.
Yes.
Even the player cards, what was that mechanic
It
called?
was some sort of incubator.
Yeah. And so
Accelerated incubation.
That was what it was.
Actually, that makes sense as a mechanic for the trader. One of your players is actually working. So your player
Against you.
cards are
Working against you?
Yeah, working against you, and adding coda to the board
Yeah.
specifically. Yeah.
It damn traitor. Yeah.
Yep.
Cocksuckers. We talked about the rules a little bit before.
I'm sorry. Hang on. Can you imagine if, like, On the Brink is the expansion that has a traitor for Pandemic,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
The
Can you imagine?
bioterrorist.
Yeah. Can you imagine if there had been a 15 game, 18 game long traitor in this, at the end
like
in
of
December,
Oh, like at the beginning, like everybody
one
gets
character,
one packet.
yeah, one
and-
person that's playing as a traitor.
Just so you know, you have to do
Here's
this
the
for
thing.
18 games.
Yeah, I was gonna say here's the thing with Bob playing, the traitor would have been found out on the first.
First fucking turn of the
Yeah.
first game.
Yep.
I'm the traitor and I've ruined everyone. So some hot stats on characters. We never used the soldier and the generalist.
You missed out on the soldier, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was
apparently.
great. He was great.
You guys used everything at least once or twice.
We did everything twice.
Yeah. We had two that were only used once. We used the scientist 18 times, literally every single game the scientist was used. Then the medic and dispatcher at 15 games, the quarantine specialist at 11 before we got to the traitor quarantine specialist, and then the researcher and immunologist when that came out, because we were like basically two medics, which was real nice.
Yeah.
You guys were all over the place. Medic was probably used most, 14 games. Scientist at 12.
I mean, there's no probably about it.
Yeah.
they were.
The quarantine specialist at 9, and then you kind of went all over the place.
Yep.
12 is probably smaller than 14. Probably.
Probably.
How many times did you use a soldier?
5 times.
Only 5 times. You
Well,
guys,
because you don't start with the soldier.
No.
No, he comes in pretty late.
Yeah.
4 times.
4 times. That was a very important rule
August,
for you.
September, October, and then December. Once,
Basically, all the
Yeah.
searches.
yeah, anytime we need to do a search, he was there.
Yeah.
He was there. We had one dead character, the Colonel, that Andrew decided to murder. When
I really wanted to play a civilian.
Yeah. When we lost the quarantine specialist to the traitor, he went to the Colonel and immediately killed the Colonel with 3 scars in one game in his 4th overall game, I want to say.
The colonels.
Yep.
Yeah.
We ended up with 8 scars versus your guys' 2 scars. Our final clearly competitive scores.
Yeah. Out of
wants to go first?
Out of a possible 1,000.
Out of the possible 1,000 points. Let's go over the categories a little bit here so everyone knows what we're scoring.
There's a calendar wherein you get 40 points for each game that you won in the first half of the month, and 20 points that you won each month that you won in the second half of the month.
And if you lost the month, you got no points for that month.
Exactly. And then there's a category of cities where you get 5 points for each city with a 0 or 1 panic level, 2 points for each city with a 2 or 3 panic level, 1 point for each city with a panic level of 4, and nothing for fallen cities.
Yep.
And then bonuses. Bonus for vaccinating every fated city, which I thought was a requirement.
It's pretty mandatory.
Yeah,
Unless you
but-
can lose before you do that at the
Right.
end of the last game.
that's,
Yeah.
that's it.
That's pretty much
Yeah.
it.
And if you use all those faded stickers, y'all fucked anyways and aren't
Right.
getting that.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100 bonus points for destroying the stockpile in Atlanta, which, again, basically mandatory.
Yes.
Once again, it's if you lost.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you lose both things in December, you just lost 200 points there. 80 bonus points for not having any military bases on the board, which,
We were 2 away from,
Yeah.
and we could have done
Right.
if we knew.
yeah.
Which I think is the same for you
here.
guys,
Yeah,
right?
like you said, it only took us 6 actions, not even like a turn and a half to win the second game in December. So yeah, that would have been real easy. Negative 100 points if you opened package 8. If you lost 4 in a row and had to use those bonus
Team Bravo.
Yeah,
Team
which
Bravo.
we did not.
Well, that's one Team Bravo.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then
Yes.
Negative 200 points if Team Bravo came to your aid, and that means if you didn't complete the searches before the
yes.
end of October.
Yes.
Because at the end of October, there's a card that says open boxes 6 and 7 if you haven't already, and that's Team Bravo coming to your aid. So if you haven't completed those searches by the end of October, that's
Get it
negative
together.
200 points, and you are screwed. So yeah, and then those are the 3 categories: the calendar, the cities, and the bonus. And then you total those up, and as a possible 1,000 points if no city ever broke out more than twice in the entire game, and you won in the first half of every game and destroyed every military base. Yeah,
You played 12 total games.
Yeah,
That's
If you're the people that play with 7 epidemics and you're like, this is easy.
yeah.
Because you could put
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
Epidemic cards from like other copies of the game in there if you wanted to.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
I'm guessing almost every person that owns Pandemic Legacy owns another version of Pandemic.
Yeah.
Yes.
In one form or another.
I want to say that might be in like online and something Matt Leacock has talked about. Like, if you think the game's too easy, get another copy of your Epidemic cards in there and throw 6 Epidemic in there. And fuck you if you do that, but
You were about to say something?
So I was going to say that for me, Pandemic Legacy saved Pandemic. I was pretty much like the only time I would play Pandemic at this point, like regular base Pandemic, is either our giant con edition that we made that's
Right, Pandepic.
life size.
Hashtag Pandepic.
Hashtag
Did you say
Pandepic.
life size?
You play with yourself as the pawns. It's,
It's
not
giant. It's not it's not the entire world.
Oh, yeah.
That's our next step.
There's a fantastic
Book your flights. You got to go to Istanbul.
Anyway, so it's either that or the app. Otherwise, I will not play Pandemic at a table with people. It's mind-numbingly boring to me.
Fair enough.
Legacy
You
saved it.
The variations, the Iberia, the Cthulhu.
I haven't played either of those. Cthulhu has no interest to me because
Right.
I hate Cthulhu.
Yeah,
Iberia
I'm on
has
board with you on
trains.
that.
Iberia has trains.
Iberia actually I've heard is an
It is.
interesting twist.
I enjoyed
on-
it.
Yeah, I would like to play it, but I have not yet.
It's very good. I'll bring it next.
Yeah.
I'll bring it Wednesday.
And then based on your total number of points, there's the epilogue and how well you did, which is a just like
Real
2-sentence,
small blurb.
Yeah, 2-sentence, 3-sentence thing for each level of 800 to 1,000. You get this 600.
That one was what, legendary?
Legendary achievement. Should I just read these out?
No, it's fine. I
Okay.
just like the titles of them.
Yeah, disaster averted was what both of us scored.
Yeah. Which one was that? 6 to 8?
676 to 800.
Okay. Yeah.
And then 526 to 675 is recovery and progress. 376 to 525 is the struggle continues, and 0 to 375 is just collapse. You suck.
I'm going to read
the world ends. Yeah.
I'm going to read Collapse because it's good. The world tumbles into chaos of the new regime. It takes centuries of sacrifice to return civilization to its former levels.
Which something tells me that they're gonna pull so in the video game XCOM, when they made XCOM 2, when they made XCOM Enemy Unknown,
Right.
the new remake of the original 80s XCOM, then they made XCOM 2, they realized, they looked at all their metrics, and they realized that most players lost their first game, and so they started XCOM 2 from the perspective of, you lost, and now the aliens won and have taken over. From what I've seen of Pandemic Legacy Season 2, it looks like you got royally fucked and you're trying to rebuild civilization.
Well, yeah.
I think they say specifically 80 some years, 70. So that sounds more like struggle continues, like generations.
Well, they
and
have
millions
a
of lives.
new year track, a new year, instead of 8, instead of BC and AD,
yeah.
it's a new thing, but it's 74 of that.
AP after
the
pandemic.
Yeah.
Or analysis paralysis. I mean,
It's been 74 years since Adrian took a turn.
Hey, at least you're digging into yourself now. Really, our goals are coming complete.
You've broken my spirit.
Yeah. Also, XCOM came out in 94.
Right, so that's what I was saying. XCOM Enemy Unknown, the remake of the original.
You said 80s.
Oh, it seemed much older.
It does, because it's an early
1994
PC game.
might as well be 80s. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, and it's vicious like games only used to be in the 80s and
Right.
early 90s.
Yeah, 94 is not an 80s game.
that's not even early. That's mid 90s.
That's 5 years away from the 80s. It's not even a full decade away from the last of the 80s.
Doom had been out for 3 years. Just saying.
Well,
A
whatever.
kid was in kindergarten by the time.
I was 9. I was 9. That's dark times. Anyway, my dark years.
I was in Sweden.
That's cool.
Not you.
Yeah, not you were in Sweden. Just okay.
Yeah.
All
When
right.
I was 11, I was in Sweden for a month.
Oh, nice.
Summer camp. It was great.
That must have been great.
Yes.
In Sweden,
Yes.
cold.
Not during the summer.
I was 7, I think.
I was not in Sweden.
Where were you in 1994?
I don't know. I
Oswego, Illinois.
think I saw Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I definitely
yeah.
saw Jurassic Park
Wow.
that year.
Lion King was maybe the year before.
Yeah, I think I went and saw that with my sister and my grandmother.
Good times.
I remember seeing that movie.
Adrian, where were you in 1994?
I was living somewhere in Kansas.
Okay.
And I was
It was
also
93
on the
was Jurassic
streets.
Park. That's what I
Huh?
thought.
On the streets, somewhere in Kansas.
Yes, somewhere in Kansas. I believe it. See, because I would have been 9 as well, and that would
This is great for pandemic.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think at that time I was in Garden City, Kansas, small western Kansas, nothing town.
Okay.
We have to record something else after this, right?
So,
That's fine.
Hey, somebody asked me.
okay.
I was tuning out because this is probably all just getting shot.
Oh, I know.
That's totally fine. So now that we know the categories and how terrible that you can do at this game, who wants to start with their final score?
We will, since ours was less.
spoilers.
Yeah. Ours was 700.
That's the first spoiler of the.
Yeah, that's the
Spoiler
first one.
alert.
Yeah, we had 700 total out of the 1,000. So we got, what we got? We got a fucking C. Boom, we passed.
Where did your score go south?
That was the whole calendar thing because
Yeah.
we had
Yeah.
3 months where we didn't win at all.
We only had 1 month where we didn't win, and that's basically the difference between our two games. We finished with 7-12.
Indeed.
12 points ahead out of
Yep.
1,000.
Yeah.
We thought we were 7-10 until Adrian was like, double check that score. And then we were like, oh, we got more points.
Yeah. He thought he had stolen the win from us.
Twice today. That
Twice.
happened.
Yeah.
And we were wrong on both times.
Yeah.
You
were wrong. You were wrong.
There's a
Well, the first time I wasn't the one who called it out.
Yeah, and I think actually both times it was my mistake.
okay.
And I will.
Our score did go down,
And then it went back up.
and then it went back up.
And then it went down, and then it went up higher.
Yeah.
Just like Adrian challenged me on winning. Not only will I win, but I'll win more.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jeff.
High five. Boom. Team red.
Yeah.
Red versus blue. Red always wins.
Okay.
I have a hat that says red versus blue on it.
No, I'm sure you do. It's
Rooster Teeth.
Rooster Teeth, yeah.
Cockbite.
Yep.
So yeah, we won Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Mm-hmm. And as Adrian was mentioning earlier, Pandemic Legacy Season 2 will be right around the corner.
Hopefully Gen Con, I think, maybe.
For some reason, I
heard
heard
June, July?
yeah, June,
No
July
release
is what I
dates that I
heard.
have seen. I tried Googling it.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything
I
about
heard second quarter 2017,
Oh, wow,
which is
okay.
before August.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Gen Con would be the end of second quarter,
Yeah.
beginning of third. It's like
Yeah.
right on that line.
Yeah.
But I think if they're going to release it around then, they're going to have, fingers crossed, like
102 copies.
Jesus.
a lot of copies for everyone to buy because it's like the hottest game in
Yeah.
a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Which is saying something.
yes, just shot straight up to number 1.
Yeah.
So, overall, what did you guys think?
It's a fucking amazing game.
It
Yeah.
was.
It's
don't-
one of only 2 games I have rated 10 on BGG. so.
I don't
I
want
wouldn't go that
5 for
far.
me.
It's a 5 for you?
No,
Oh.
1 of 5
Oh,
games.
okay.
one
I
of
was gonna say.
5/10s.
I
Yeah.
was just say that doesn't jive with what I thought you felt about it, Zach.
Yeah.
but
No. You asked me what 10s I had, and this was one of the ones I named.
that was at least days ago. Expect me to remember that
Yes.
shit.
But no, I love Pandemic by itself.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, Legacy, yes.
Yeah.
And then yes, oh my God, yes. And then
Yes,
Meg
yes.
Ryan, fake orgasm, but real orgasm.
I need to change of
Wow.
pants, everyone.
Yeah. and then
Suddenly become a shock jock.
no, and then someone else over there was like, I would like what he's having, but it was actually me still saying it. And then I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you're saying? Okay.
I believe he actually made love to the board itself.
Oh wow.
That seems
We're
2D.
We are heading to a place I do not want to go.
How do you feel about the game, Adrian?
Well, I'm trying to pull it up here real quick. What I actually have it rated on. I think I have it like a 7 or an 8 on BGG.
Okay.
Traitor.
Well, but you also start from Pandemic as a much lower.
Yes, Pandemic for me is very low.
Like,
It's
is it 4 or
cooperative.
5?
What is it?
A Pandemic for me is probably a 5, which I think is
Ugh.
for theirs. I don't like it, but I could be talked into playing it.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
basically, if I'm at game night and it's new people and somebody's new is like, "Oh my God, Pandemic's my
Right.
favorite game. Would you play with me?" I'm not going to be like, "No, fuck you. That game's awful."
Yeah.
because I don't
Fuck
want to.
you.
If it was
'Cause I
lower than
don't-
5, then I would have been like, all right,
yeah, I
them's
don't-
fighting words.
I'm not going
Yeah.
to turn somebody away from game night by being a dick.
I'm going to go make coffee so I can throw it in your face.
So I might have it. I might have regular Pandemic as low as a 4 because 4 is not so good, but could play again.
Sure.
5 is mediocre, take it or leave it. I think I'm a little more negative on Pandemic than that. I currently have Legacy as a 7. Good, usually willing to play.
No wonder it took you 13 months to finish.
Well, I mean, like, I could maybe go up to an 8. Enjoy playing and would suggest it, but it's not like it's different because of the way the Legacy works.
Well,
where
you can't use it in the same thing because yes, 10. Oh, do I want to play it at any time? I mean.
Exactly.
Yes, but also it doesn't really work.
And I would love to have that experience of playing it again.
Exactly.
I think that right there, though, that difference is why it's ranked number 1 because people are like, "Oh, I loved this game." They're ranking it a 10 because they loved it, not because it's not what 10 is on the BGG scale.
Right. But you can also use your own scale. For me, it is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm just
And that's how I
explaining
treat-
why it's number 1.
No, I know. I know. I'm
their
saying
list
that
overall.
Even
It's
I
not
usually
the best
use.
game in existence. So
I mean,
I think probably most people would agree on that. Yeah. But I think
hell,
even
I don't think it's a top 10 game. Like I really like the game. I don't think it's one of the 10 best games ever made.
it's one of my 10 favorite playing experiences, certainly.
I see, and that's where it's tricky. Like, yes, it was a great experience, not necessarily a great game.
but it's. I mean, for me at least,
How
they're
much can
one in
you-
the same.
yeah,
like,
how much can you
I would
do?
include that experience in because the game is in the experience because the Legacy makes it not so much unique anymore, but that's what makes it such a great experience.
I mean, it wasn't unique when it came out. There was already a different Legacy game.
Yeah, but not in the same way because that one was competitive. I don't know.
Right.
Well, then it's still unique because there's not another cooperative
In
Legacy
your
yet.
face.
So we should say overall, it's rated an 8.7 on Board Game Geek.
Yes.
So it's not. I mean, it's still number 1 across the board.
Right.
Which I mean, and that's I think that's not an unreasonable rating by itself.
If you just look at the average rating, not the geek rating, and just look at like anything that's gotten over 1,000, I think it's like number 6 or number 7, something like that.
Yeah, which is
Gloomhaven is number 1.
Yeah.
But it only has like
It's getting
3,000 votes.
Stupid good ratings.
Yeah.
everyone really likes fucking Gloomhaven a lot. I have it rated a 9.8. I don't know if I've actually rated anything a 10.
Interesting.
Mostly because my 10 scale might be different than others.
I have 2 currently, but I could make an argument for maybe 4. I just haven't pulled the trigger on him.
Yeah. I think I went through and I was like, I don't know if I could have like the perfect game that I'll always want to play. But I mean, it's up there.
Terraforming should be higher. I think. Well, I think
It's at 9.
I have it at a 9.5
Okay.
on mine. It's right there.
It's one of my 10s.
It's my other 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My 2 10s are listeners know this, and Andrew, you probably do too because you listen. Laharv and Food Chain right
Sure.
now.
Yeah.
Zach is trying to gag himself.
Here's an interesting thing. I was playing around with the BGG rankings today, and I found out that if you just look at the average rating and don't like the geek rating is like influenced by the number of voters and all of that.
Yeah, it's weighted.
Yeah. If you just look at the average rating, Uwe's number 1 average rating game is actually Feast for Odin.
It's the new hotness thing.
Yeah,
Like
I
mean,
think that's probably it. Yes.
I was hoping you'd say Patchwork. I was not expecting it, but I was just like,
see, I actually wouldn't have been surprised. Patchwork's pretty universally loved
Yes.
by most people.
Unless you only care about theme.
So my final thoughts.
Yeah.
As
Yes.
everyone talked for 20 minutes.
Oh shit! Sorry, Jeff.
I got it rated at 9.8. I think it's a fantastic game. I love cooperative games. They're one of my favorite styles of games.
same here.
Same here. Yeah.
I don't think there's any other real cooperative legacy games out there until Pandemic
Time
Legacy
Stories
Season 2.
is
Yeah,
not
yeah,
legacy in the same way, but
not
it's
so much.
it's one
Campaign,
time.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
one time playthrough.
Yep.
So yeah.
Campaign.
Yeah.
I like it, it's a game that you can only really play once, and I love that I played it, and I will remember all of those cool little moments that happened in
Yeah.
those games and how unique they are. And I very much enjoyed hearing about other people's playthroughs.
I've heard multiple people play it 2 times, and it's just,
Right.
One, it's like everyone plays it again and see if they can do better, which that wouldn't be me. But
Right.
I would like to do. It's like I'm playing with 3 completely new people, and you
Yeah, that'd be
just sort of
interesting.
take a back seat.
Yeah.
Like you still do stuff, but then all the big decisions they make, and then you can see people be like, "Oh, this card seems great, guys. Don't you think this is great?" And you're just like, "You fools, you fool."
Don't nuke that city. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Whatever upgrade that removes cubes, don't do it. cubes aren't going to be the problem anymore. They turn into figures.
That's actually one of the more ingenious like tweaks. Is like the rules specifically say cubes, and then they don't give you cubes.
Faded figures.
Yeah.
David's original group fell for that. We fell for that, and I think you guys fell for that.
Yes, we did.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I guess my final thoughts. I love competitive. The Legacy. I had not played Risk Legacy, so that was
competitive.
I'm sorry.
Cooperative.
I love cooperative. Thank you. It's maybe my favorite.
We're just trying to cooperate here and help you out.
Yes. Very sweet of you, Zach. But yeah, I had not played.
Watch out, Adrian's the traitor.
I had not played, or am I? I had not played Risk Legacy, so like that was a new and different experience. You know, I've since played I think 3-4 games of Seafall, depending on how you count the prequel thing and
prologue.
The prologue, thank you. And Legacy is not enough to make a game interesting, unfortunately.
I think. I've played the first couple games of Risk Legacy, and it's like, oh yeah, Legacy part's cool, but it's still Risk.
Right.
Whereas this is like, oh, I love Pandemic.
It started with a game that was already very good.
Yes.
You know, despite Adrian's protestations, it's still in the like middle of the top 100 on BGG, somewhere like 50s, 60s, something like that. And then
one of the best.
It.
Exactly.
I think it's maybe the quintessential co-op game. You know,
for like gateway wise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Pandemic is a game you can put in front of anyone that has no idea what it is.
Yep.
Depends on the teacher, of course, but yeah.
And that's another thing that I was about to say is like, we. As a co-op game, especially one with open information, like your cards are all out on the table, everybody knows everything. It is especially prone to the quarterbacking issue that, you know, like games like Hanabi don't have nearly as much.
Well, they can't have that.
They can't have it, right. But
fingers crossed.
I mean, yeah.
But I know what you're saying, yeah.
But so like I can totally see if, you know, if I were playing another game of Risk Legacy with 3 people who hadn't done it yet, I think my tendency would definitely be to quarterback. Like I just know that about myself.
Yeah.
But like I think that was one of the things that was so great about our group was that all 4 of us knew the game really well, and like we were all arguing with each other to figure out what each person's best move was. So we were all quarterbacking, but it worked out. Like it was really good.
Yeah, I don't think we had much of a.
Not too bad.
Maybe once in a while, but for the most part, we tried to be very, open about it and letting everybody do their own.
Oh, we didn't let everybody do our own move. We just all argued with each other.
Gotcha.
You know, we came to it.
Yeah, people weren't really playing their roles. Everyone was playing every role.
Yes, yeah. But it was really good. We were basically all equals. There was no point where nobody single-handedly took over the whole game. It was very balanced.
Ant was very much so like, we should do this, and we were like, yeah, we're idiots. You're right.
Yeah, he did that a few times, but we also, there were definitely a few times when he was wrong.
Yeah,
and we, we had to point that out to him. Anyway,
I think ours was not. I mean, we didn't. I wouldn't say we ever really argued. There were times where somebody wanted to do something different, and to be like, well, actually, what if.
Right.
What if we did this?
Yeah.
And then sometimes it'd be like, no, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it'd be like, oh, yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah.
But again, picking a game, like knowing that this was a legacy game, knowing that it was going to be 12 to 24.
That you had to play with the same people.
It makes you more careful about who you're picking to play with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is, again, another reason why this probably, for me, works so much better than regular Pandemic. Where you might play with somebody who either is a domineering prick,
right,
or somebody who's just too timid and lets everybody else play their turns for them and doesn't participate.
Yeah.
Neither of which are good.
You might as well just
you didn't have to worry about our team being timid.
Right, exactly.
Nor ours.
Yeah. None of us in this are particularly timid individuals.
No.
Listen to what the fuck I have to say.
Fuck you, listen to me right now.
Guys.
Shut up, Andrew.
We didn't bring you on this podcast for your opinion.
Well, tough shit. You're going to get it.
You're here for objective facts only.
And history lessons.
Yeah, so that's Pandemic Legacy.
You could call this a review of sorts.
Yeah.
In 2 parts.
So if you're listening to this as a review
7.5 months apart.
I actually listened to the to our first or your first episode earlier today, and the predictions from Zach were 9 months, so he was pretty spot on. And the prediction from Adrian was episode 122, which is a little
long.
less off.
I also expected more special episodes mixed in.
Right.
No, I was just saying we'd never get to it.
Yeah.
Which we almost didn't.
It was only my incessant pestering, like, hey guys, when are we going to do this? You said I was going to be on your podcast. When are we going to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we had been like, we'll let you know,
Right.
if you are the one that's going to join it, then probably nothing would have came to it. But we were like, Andrew, you're going to be the one that's going to be on, and you're like,
And it's not like any of our listeners were like, oh my God, where's the second half of your pandemic? Like, nobody gives a shit. Nobody's going to listen to this.
yeah. I'm expecting more people will listen to this than our Gen Con one.
Yes.
But-
well, that's what, 30 people?
38.
38 people have listened to that.
Oh God, is it that bad?
Oh, yeah, it's real bad.
Okay.
Which is good, though, because that episode is fuck awful.
Yeah.
Don't listen to that episode.
I listened to it. It is not your best episode. No.
I mean, we took all our shit with us and
Yeah.
set it up in the kitchen of an Airbnb.
And had like 7 people around the table.
And had horrible mics. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ant was not drunk at all.
Yeah, Ant was drunk. You couldn't hear anything Matt was saying.
Yeah,
Right.
Because he brought your horrible mic, Matt, Jeff.
Those karaoke mics
Not
had
good.
XOR.
Guitar Hero, Mike.
No,
Not
it was
quite that bad.
yeah.
No, not
Just
that.
not up to snuff with the rest of our equipment.
Indeed.
So, but yeah, thanks for listening. This, like I said, is Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Finally done talking about it.
Yeah.
Until the moratorium on spoilers passes and we start talking about it in the regular show.
Yes.
And then until Season 2 comes out.
Right.
And then we'll be back.
And
We will finish that one in less than a year. I make a promise now.
Can't wait to see him break that promise.
Yep. That's
fine.
Right.
We'll be lucky to finish it in a year.
That's what I mean. We will finish it in a year because it took us
It took us 12 months. Or
13 months.
13 months, yeah.
yeah. So I'm just saying we'll do it less than 12 months. So.
Well,
Judging by how we finish this, we could get ours done in a week.
Yeah.
judging by how much progress we've made on fucking Seafall
well, there's a difference
and
in that one.
Gloomhaven.
There's-
Well,
and-
that's your fault.
Yes.
Hey, can I get into your Gloomhaven? Just saying.
We can play Gloomhaven.
Yeah. We don't have Adrian
got-
have to play anymore. And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
there we go.
All right.
We'll just
Good.
take Adrian out.
Well, and also Jeff has the replacement sticker, so he can have multiple games. He doesn't have to replace me.
It's true.
Okay.
Yeah, but that we just won't play that campaign anymore.
You can
with
play
Adrian.
multiple Gloomhaven campaigns.
We'll
now.
just continue a campaign with Andrew and Ant, obviously. So
Yes.
it's just,
Adrian, you press start on the recording machine and then exit the room.
I hate you all.
so you get for skiing and snowboarding.
Adrian might have just gotten a scar.
That's his 25th scar.
Oh man, what episode are we on? Like fucking 43.
Like I said, they broke my spirit already. I was making fun of myself earlier. So,
Yes.
Self-hating, that's your scar.
yes. So if you have any comments about our Pandemic Legacy experiences, you might want to send them in an email where it's not immediately blazoned
Nah.
publicly. Zach, I'm sure you could throw up a BGG
I can throw up a
thread.
BGG.
Yeah, and you
Yep.
can do spoiler tags on there
On
to
tw-
hide on BGG.
Oh yeah. But it'll be in the that thread will mark that it's going to be
Yeah.
free for all for spoilers.
It's your own fault if you look in there.
Yeah, but
Like
you know,
Boss 8.
don't tweet at us. You know, oh my god, I can't believe that they turned into zombies.
Yeah.
because that's just not cool.
Yeah. It's your own fault for not playing this game already.
Also, that is a valid point. We
Widely
started this in
available.
2015.
Yeah. Widely available, widely on sale for half off or less.
Super cheap
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah.
But
Everyone's trying to get rid of that stock before season 2 hits.
Yeah.
Nope.
Although it seems like a fair number of people would probably buy it again once season 2 hits if it's still on sale.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But anyway, yeah, so to get a hold of us for that contact type stuff, we're Board Game Geek Guild 2731. We're on Twitter. I'm at MHGameGuys.
I'm Zach_MHGG.
I'm Jeff_MHGG.
Andrew, do you have Twitter?
I'm still an egg on Twitter. I've tweeted like 2 things in the last 10 years, so no.
Okay. Twitter's been around
thank
for that
you.
long, so that's
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
Fair enough. We're also Instagram and Facebook at Mile High Game Guys.
That we are.
And the website, milehighgameguys.com.
.com.
It's got
Recently
a-
updated.
And it's got a new banner.
Yeah.
Looks fancy.
Yeah.
And if anybody has anything to say to me, just send it on to you guys, and you'll forward it to me.
Indeed.
That'll be enough.
In person.
Well,
I'll print it out.
we'll print it off, we'll ball it up, and we'll throw it at him at game night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Paper airplane right into my forehead.
No, just a wad.
Okay.
But thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for recording your second episode.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. And until next time, I've been Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm quarantine specialist Jeff.
And thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
All right, bye.
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 You stick with the red pigmented, like yellow and red are very similar on the color wheel.
Okay.
Blue and black are closer on the color
Fucking
wheel.
Switch is going to be here on Thursday. Yay.
We got switches in
Well, now we
today.
got another cut, so
No, you can keep that in. I don't care.
nobody gives a shit about your Switch.
I
Zach.
care.